Hi, my name's Molly and I'm a textile artist based in Edinburgh, and today I'm going to show you how you can take some paper cups and some yarn and turn them into an adorable little Easter basket to give to your friends who might spend Easter alone or maybe self-isolating.
To make your Easter basket, you're going to need a few different materials. So to begin with, we'll need some paper cups. You may find some hiding at the back of your kitchen cupboards, but most supermarkets will also have them. Also need a ruler and pencil to mark where we're going to cut our weaving lines, tape and glue, an optional crochet hook for a little crochet border that I will show a little how-to on, as well as yarn. I'm using chunky weight yarn for this project in a couple of quite nice pastels and a bright red. And a tapestry needle to sew in ends, and some pastel coloured paper that we'll use to create fillers for our basket, as well as the all-important Easter chocolate. To start off, we're going to measure our cup. So my cup measures 9 centimeters long, and for the section that we're going to actually weave on, you'll want it to be a little less than halfway down the cup. So in my case, it's about 4 centimeters down. So we're going to measure that out, draw lines all the way around, and this will be the point to which we cut. Once we've measured out those cut lines, we'll need to cut an odd number of sections. So in my case, I've chosen 11 sections, and it just means that when we're going under and over with our yarn, we're not going to get any gaps forming in the weave. So just cut all those sections now. Next, to make it a little bit easier to fold back the brim once woven, we're just going to fold back those flaps now, and here we can begin the weave. So we're going to trap the yarn on the inside of the cup, and we'll secure that later, and then we're just going to pop under one, over the next, under one, over the next, and continue in that pattern all the way around until our yarn starts to come up towards the brim of the cup. As you weave, the currently folded out sections will start to close in on themselves, and that's what we want, as you can see here. And at this point, once we got to the top of the rim, we will need to tie a small knot just to secure the end. So I'm going to use my tapestry needle here, thread that up, and then we're going to want to thread our needle through from the inside to the outside of the cup, about 1 or 2 rows down. And when we knot it, if you pull the knot to the outside of the cup, this part will be hidden once we fold back the brim. I'm putting in a second knot just to secure that and cut off that end. This next part where we fold back the rim is gonna feel a little bit wrong and it might be quite fiddly. However, we just need to ease the top of the cup over. So those folds that we made before are going to help us here, but as you can see in the video, it doesn't look like it wants to, but if you keep easing it over, you'll soon get a folded over brim, as we can see here. And that little end of yarn we'll also secure in the inside later, so don't worry about that. So just to make it all sit a little bit easier, if you're finding that the brim of the cup is sitting quite strangely, you can refold or just kind of curve those bits a little bit inwards so it gives a nicer structure to the brim. And here you can see our woven section. This next part is optional, however I'm going to create crochet boulders to go around my Easter basket cup. If you want to give this a go, there's lots of tutorials on YouTube to show you the basics, but we're going to start by making a slip knot. I'm using a 5.5mm crochet hook with chunky weight yarn. Pop that slip knot onto your crochet hook, and then we yarn over and pull through the loop. And this will create a foundation of chains. We'll need to make this foundation just long enough to go around the cup. So you can see me here just sizing up. You want a little bit of overlap as we begin to single crochet into these loops, it'll become a little bit shorter. This part here just shows you how to single crochet. So you insert your hook through a stitch, yarn over and pull through both loops. And we'll do that the whole way across all of those foundation loops we made earlier. So our next stitches are going to be double crochets, so we chain 2 at the end and then we turn our work. The pattern I'm doing works in bundles of 6, so you'll want your foundation row of chains to be a multiple of 6. And then what we do after our single crochets is we begin to double crochet and we count to the 3rd stitch. So miss 2, count to the 3rd, and at this point we'll do a double crochet, which is yarn over, insert hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through remaining 2. And we just repeat this until we have 5 double crochets into that same stitch. This will create a scalloped, almost edge border for our little crochet border piece. And then we count 1, 2, 3, and into that third one we're going to do a single crochet just to secure the little pattern we've just made. And if you just repeat that across the entire chain, and here at the end I've cut my yarn off, leaving a tail, and we'll pull our tail through the final loop. Don't worry too much about the ends just now, as we'll tie those and weave those in a second using our tapestry needle. I also decided at this point that I felt that the bottom of the cup was lacking a little bit of extra detail, so I've added on some double-sided sticky tape to the bottom of the cup, and I'm going to wrap it around the cup again in the same pink chunky yarn, just so when it's all finished it looks a little bit neater and just a little prettier overall. So I secure the ends of my yarn, trailing that upper piece of the sticky tape just to make sure it's extra secure, as shown here, and then we just wrap it all the way around. The closer you are to the bottom edge of the cup, the neater it's all going to look. Feel free to put on more tape if you feel like it's necessary, but if you just wind around and around until you're just inside the brim of the cup. So now that's all done, we can secure our crochet edge. If you didn't want to do the crochet edge, you can attach lots of things here. You could use a piece of ribbon, or maybe even some lace or something like that. Even a strip of paper, coloured paper or something like that, that you could cut a little scalloped edge into it if you don't fancy trying out crochet, because it can be quite fiddly to learn at first. So once we get to the end of super gluing that down, we'll just want to secure that last little end and put in a couple of holding stitches to keep those two ends closed and looking nice and neat. So I just loop it over a couple of times, stitching through and stitching through one more time, and then we'll cut the end of this yarn. Now it's time to make a handle. Using another cup, I've cut off the top brim and cut out a section, and then we're going to create a fairly narrow handle, maybe about 1 centimetre or 1.5 centimetres wide. We're going to trim off both edges so that they are nice and straight. You feel free to hold this up to the cup until you get the kind of appropriate size. And then we're going to take our double-sided sticky tape again, pop that on both sides of this handle, leaving a small gap at either end. And just like we wrapped yarn around the bottom of the cup, we're going to do the same here for the handle. Again, if you just secure your yarn lengthways down the sticky tape and then begin to wrap round, that'll secure that end in place, and we can just continue wrapping around until we've covered the whole length of the handle, making sure that we don't leave any gaps where the paper can show through. To secure the opposite end, I'm just going to put a little dollop of super glue just to keep that extra yarn down to make the cup look neater overall. And then we're going to add on some little tabs of double-sided sticky tape, and this is what we're going to use to secure the handle to the cup. You'll want to secure the handle on opposite sides of the cup, so it's just inside. Try and make sure that you can't see the actual paper showing through when you look from the outside. Bend back the second edge and try and keep it as parallel to the first side as possible. If for some reason you don't have double-sided sticky tape or something like that, feel free to use super glue. I've decided to fill my cups with some crinkle paper. I have some pastel paper lying around at home, and what I've done is I've concertina folded that back and forth on itself, cutting little segments off and unfolding them so we have this cute little crinkle paper. Using pastels, pinks, blues, greens and yellows. I think it's pretty appropriate for Easter, and we're just going to stuff some of that inside of our little Easter. So we're just going to stuff some of that paper inside of our Easter baskets, and that'll give something for our chocolate to sit on and make everything a little bit more secure. So let's pop some chocolate inside and make it look nice and pretty for when we're going to gift it to a friend, family members, anybody you want to. I think we can all agree they look pretty adorable, and I would love to receive one of these as a gift as myself, so I hope you've enjoyed this craft and let's deliver it to a friend.
Wow. I hope you enjoyed this video and give this craft a little go. Thanks for watching.